Deepak sir. A very good evening to one and all present for this webinar. I, Professor Kajal Baviskar, working as Assistant Professor in Kekewa College of Pharmacy, would like to welcome today's eminent resource person, Mr. Deepak Redgaonkar sir, CEO, Empower Corporations, Mumbai, Dr. K.S. Jain sir, Principal, Kekewa College of Pharmacy, Professor R.A. Hirore sir, Principal, Kekewa Institute of Pharmacy, all the respected dignitaries, respected delegates, dear staff members, and of course, dear students. I would like to start with a quote. Personality is to an individual what perfume is to a flower. If one wants to succeed in life, one needs to have a confident, pleasant, and attractive personality. Personality is not just confined to physical attributes, but the way you interact with people and your body language. It grooms an individual and helps him or her to make a mark of his or her own. Thus, to guide us on how to develop a winning personality, which is the need of our, we have an eminent and dynamic personality, Mr. Deepak Redgaonkar sir. Now I would like to invite Principal Sir to say few words.
Yeah, thank you, Kajal Madam. And once again, good afternoon and welcome. Today's resource person, uh, Mr. Deepak Redgaonkar sir, and all the dignitaries who are attending this webinar. This webinar is rather more confined to our students. Earlier, we had conducted 4 webinars which were for the entire society, and they were on diverse subjects, particularly pertaining to COVID and mucormycosis. And still, as a it is as a protocol, I welcome all the dignitaries, and I thank our education society for providing us such a wonderful platform and always encouraging us to carry out such activities. And let me brief little bit about Kekewag Education Society. Our students are quite aware of it, but our eminent speaker, as well as those students from outside and staff members from outside, Kekewag Education Society has completed 50 years of rich educational experience, imparting quality education from KG to PhD in a plethora of branches, ranging from simple humanities to engineering, pharmacy, polytechnic, nursing, MBA, MCA, and 5 different specializations of agricultural colleges, and which is spread out in 9 different campuses in and around Nasik. And it has more than 2,000 staff and more than 25,000 students. And our old flagship colleges like the engineering college and the polytechnic college, which are very old, they boast of more than 50,000 plus alumni spread all across the world. And last year we had very impressive alumni meets of the school as well as the engineering and polytechnic and agricultural colleges, and in each of that meet we had more than 5,000 students gathering here. And I think these memories are very much there in each and everybody's mind. So we are really very happy to be associated with such a brand. And as our honorable president, who is our patron, we call him lovingly Bhau, Mr. Bala Saheb Wagh, has really established this institution and the brand as an excellent, as a example of excellence. And at the age of 90 still he is fit and he is always there. He doesn't miss the visit to the campus and spends time. And he has a very rich team of honorable trustees of our management who are equally very responsive and very alert, and our honorable secretary who is always so cooperative, all our coordinators and principals of various colleges. And I have been associated with many colleges This is my 9th college in my very rich experience of 38 years, out of which 32 is in academics. This is one unique society where I have seen so much of attention is paid on the academic quality, equally on the personality development, and also the extra and co-curricular activities. And they want everything to be updated. And this COVID has taught us to become ICT enabled, and we have really trained ourselves through various workshops, through our engineering college staff and self-practice. And today I am very happy to say KK College of Pharmacy, which is still in the infancy, I can say, because still not a single batch has passed out. This is the final batch which will be passing out somewhere in July, August. We are one of the only colleges in the entire university which has 121 affiliated colleges, which has converted its all 4 years syllabus, theory and practical, into e-content and uploaded the videos on YouTube. So that is really commendable. And whether it is lockdown or whatever, our sessions, that is teaching, learning, assessment, keeps on going. We have internal very high set benchmarks of our engineering college and our polytechnic college, which stand in platinum category in the national ranking, and they are so many times accredited. So we also take lot of this encouragement from them, and therefore we also have all across various types of activities. Since last May 27th, we had in the complete academic year more than 30 such webinars, and this time also we have started on 25th and we had finished 5 webinars. This is 6th in the line, and now the focus is more on student personality development. First we did webinars on the current problem of COVID, its treatments, its immunity, its total pathophysiology, understanding its scientific aspects. Today's speaker is another eminent speaker with more than 30 years of experience. He represents Empower Corporation with a head office at Bombay. He is a very seasoned personality in sales, marketing, training, counseling, personality development and branding and performance coaching. And he likes to interact with younger minds to ignite them with positive ideas, boost their confidence and motivate them. And today's subject is also one of his favorite modules, developing a winning personality. So we interacted twice, thrice. I invited him, why don't you interact with our students? And he willingly accepted. I beg his pardon, last time we could not keep the date due to some unavoidable reasons, but today we are happy to have him here, and I'm sure I once again welcome him, and I'm sure he will enthrall you with his 45 minutes or 1 hour session. Over to you, Kajal. You can proceed further.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now it's my humble request for Mr. Deepak Redgaonkar, sir, to accept virtual felicitation. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Many thanks to you all. Many thanks to you.
Welcome, sir. Now I would invite my colleague, Professor Prajakta Shingote, to introduce our today's eminent speaker, Mr. Redgaonkar, sir. Please, Prajakta, madam.
Kajal madam, Prajakta madam, you should switch on your video when you talk. That will be better. So you will come in the photograph.
Yes, sir.
You may be having problem with the bandwidth, I think.
Very good evening, sir. I'm sorry I cannot switch on my video because there is a problem with bandwidth.
You're working from home, so okay, no problem. You will have a bandwidth problem. Okay, come.
So, very good evening, one and all. I am Assistant Professor Prajakta Nivrutti Shingote, and today I'm here to introduce the eminent speaker, we have with us Mr. Deepak Redgaonkar sir. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce Redgaonkar sir. He is the founder director or CEO of Empower Incorp, which is a training and consulting enterprise in Mumbai. He has seasoned several professionals with over 30 years of experience with a blend of sales, marketing, training, performance, coaching, and counseling. He was associated with a US based MNC as consultant in strategic operations. He is also associated with Rush Group of companies as group advisor and mentor. He was associated with Dubai based training enterprise as director in training and marketing. He also worked as a national head in training with leading Indian multinational pharmaceutical company besides 15 years sales experience in various positions with a US based Fortune 500 multinational pharmaceutical company. He is also a certified senior training consultant from leading multinational training organizations. He is certified psychotherapist and counselor from globally recognized Institute of Psychotherapy and Management Science.
Okay, ma'am.
He has several achievements and won several meritorious performance and outstanding accolades. To mention a few, he was associated with All India Radio as compere and Doordarshan as an anchor. He voluntary association with National Literacy Mission. He participated in the World Youth Peace Summit hosted by International Association for Human Values. Further, he was also a part in various activities organized by Youth Hostels Association of India. He also has a book to his name. It is named as Empowered to Succeed. So today we have a multifaceted and eminent personality with us. I once again welcome you, sir, and I would like to request you to begin with your session.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you so very much. Can I proceed, Dr. Jain?
Sir, sure, sir.
Okay.
Please.
At the outset, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks and, of course, profound gratitude to Dr. K. Jain sir for giving me an opportunity to share whatever learnings I have had in my past with the young budding future leaders, the future CEOs, the vice presidents, the presidents, and the healthcare stalwarts in times to come. So it's an honor to be here today with such an eminent group of institutions, which I just then heard from Dr. Jain. Very impressive, the kind of work that has been carried out. So it's a pleasure to be here. So without wasting any more of your time, I would like to straight get on with the presentations. I hope my voice is clearly audible to you all, sir.
Sir, it's okay. Your slides are also, your slide is also seen.
Okay,
Absolutely
that's
no problem.
Thank
No
you so
problem,
much. Okay. Thank you, sir. So before I get on, I would like to extend a hearty welcome to all the participants who are attending this webinar. I call today's times as digital times because earlier, whenever I used to go for training, we used to have one-to-one interaction, classroom interaction. There used to be trainings wherein people used to come, sit, attend. We were able to interact, see each other. But this COVID era has really pushed us into a digital form, which is we are connecting through a digital means. So I call it as a combination of physical plus digital, so it becomes more of a digital kind of a stuff. So welcoming you all back again for today's session on developing a winning personality. So moving on to the first slide, I'm sure everybody would agree with me that our past cannot be changed. Our past cannot be changed, but we can change our future by our actions today. There is no undo key available with us as it's generally there with our desktops, with our laptops on the keyboards. We press that undo key and the things change. But when it comes to our life, past is already gone. We can only learn from our past experiences. It's been one of the best teachers at least for me, I have learned a lot with whatever experiences, good, bad, mixed ones, when it comes to my past. But yes, we can definitely change our future by the actions that we take today. So it's important for us to look at the future and do whatever best we can today, which is available to us right now. A very old Chinese proverb, I'm sure you all have heard about it, 1,000 miles journey begins with a single step. And probably whatever learnings I'm going to share with you today, it might help you to put a step ahead, put a step forward in terms of developing and empowering your own personalities. I am also very deeply touched with this quote that if we keep doing what we have done all these years, if we keep doing what we have done, we will keep getting what we have got. So if we do not want we have got, we should not be doing whatever we have done in the past. So again, it calls for something which is extremely important for us, and we have all gone through that word in the last 1 year, is none other than the word change. There is a need for us to change, whether we volunteer a change or we are being forced into a change, but change is important. Change is essential for all of us. The fact of life remains nothing is permanent in life except change, because change is the only thing which is permanent. But if you look at change, there are people, they resist undergoing change because change is being perceived as change is always painful, change is always difficult, change puts us in a state of discomfort. So it's seemed more or less people, they are little reluctant to change, people, they are little resistant to change, because there is always a fear in the minds of people, the fear of unknown. What if I change, what will happen? Probably I will have to get into a painful situation. That is the reason people, they avoid undergoing change. But we need to remember there is a principle which talks about pain pleasure principle. Unless otherwise we undergo pain, we cannot get the pleasure out of it. You as students, when the colleges will be opening up, probably shortly another month and a half, you will have to travel some distances, come to college, whatever time, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you will have to get up early in the morning. So that's the pain probably which you will be undergoing. But this pain will not be there when you get the results in your hands, the degrees in your hands. The kind of pleasure that you will derive on the final day when you are passing out from your institute will be much, much more than the pain you have undergone during the past couple of months or couple of years. So there is no gain unless otherwise we undergo pain. So there is a need for us to move from a zone of comfort to the zone of discomfort, because yes, change always puts us in a state of discomfort. People by default want to remain in the state of comfort because they do not want to get into a zone of discomfort. But believe me, my dear friends, today's comforts are because of yesterday's discomforts, and tomorrow's comforts would largely be defined by today's discomfort, the pain which we undertake today. I hope you all agree with this. So instead of resisting change, it's time for us to really welcome change with our minds wide open. To change the way we live, we need to change the way we think and believe. What we need to change, we need to make a dynamic shift from a state of an ordinary mindset to a state of an extraordinary mindset, from an average performance person to an exceptional performance person, from a loser state, if at all we are in, to a winner state of mind, and from a mediocre's mindset graduating to a millionaire's mindset. There has got to be a dynamic shift in the entire process, which begins from our thought process, our thinking. So importance of change, if we try and see, those who change after change, they would definitely survive. Those who change with change will definitely excel and succeed. And those who cause the change will be the leaders in times to come. I'm sure you are all professionals. You are all going to be healthcare professional, healthcare stalwarts, and you are going to be drivers of change. You are going to be the leaders. We have seen, because I have been training industries across, right from healthcare, pharmaceutical sector to automobile to telecom to insurance to retail to FMCGs. Most of the industries, most of those companies are struggling right now. But you might have seen, you might have witnessed, because you come from that very stream, healthcare stream. It is the only vertical, it's the only industry which is phenomenally growing, and it will continue to grow, because people are confronting a lot of health related issues, health related challenges. It is not only restricted to the physical health of individual, even the mental health, the emotional, the psychology of people is getting affected. The other day I was reading an article wherein I was reading that 70% people who have suffered from COVID have got some or the other sort of psychological problem, disorders, challenges. So this industry has been doing phenomenally well, and now when the COVID has been seen across the globe, this industry is booming and growing at a phenomenal pace. So my dear friends, change is not only essential, change is an integral part of our life, whether we like it or we don't like it, but we have to live with the change. Probably none of us had expected that life of people would change 360-degree in 1.5 years span. COVID has not only changed people's lives, COVID has also changed people's lifestyles, COVID has also changed people's livelihood. As Dr. Jain was just then stating that they have had some series of webinars prior to this being the 6th one. Probably the previous 4-5 seminars have exclusively been on the COVID, the problems, the challenges, how to cope up with COVID issues, challenges, how to ensure that we are all safe. Probably these areas were addressed very rightly so, because it is topping the tally right now. So it is high time for us really to roll up our sleeves, pull up our socks, and get ready for the change. Success is one word I'm sure is close to everybody's heart, because I have been conducting my training programs across the countryside, out of India also. I have been traveling and doing programs. I have not met one single individual who says that he doesn't want to succeed. Right from a very small little child to an elderly person, I just then saw, I was really very deeply touched and inspired by the very fact that the promoter, the owner, which Dr. Jensa was talking about, even at the age of 90, he is absolutely fit and fine, and he tries and ensures he visits the colleges at this age also. So these are all the people, they have had phenomenal successes in their life, but these are the role models, wherein it is time for us to learn from some such dignitaries, some such role models, which have been a role model not only for the institute, but I'm sure for the society as a whole. So if you look at the first definition of success, if you Google it out, there would be n number of definitions, but what I believe is success is progressive realization of an individual's predetermined goals. Success is progressive realization of an individual's predetermined goals. So what is important here is, success is not a destination, success is a journey, because you keep on realizing your predetermined goals. You have achieved one success, you start working out for the next level. You probably have been into the first year, you passed out, you got into the second year, probably now you're in the 3rd year, some of you would be into the 4th year. So you're gradually moving up the ladder. So you are progressively realizing your predetermined goal of getting your pharmacy degree from a reputed institute like the one which you are in right now. So it's important for us to really start thinking and working about our goals right at the beginning. I have been going to a lot of management institutes. I have been interacting with young budding leaders, which are going to be the future of our country tomorrow. I talk to them I at times get surprised that there are many students having even got into the fourth semester of MBA have not yet thought on their career goals and objectives. When I ask them, they try and tell me I want to be a good manager. I said, good manager is a very generic term. What is it that you really want to be? So it is high time for us, because goal setting is not something which we can work on within an hour or two. It's a serious exercise. It takes a lot of time. We do have our goal setting, goal achievement workshop, which are minimum 2 to 3 days. So I'm sure most of you have thought of your goals, but in case if somebody has not yet started thinking or decided on their career goals, I think you can really start it right now. Another definition which I believe is very, very important when it comes to success is not about how high we reach in our life. Success is not about how high we reach in our life, but how high we bounce back after we fall down. Because life, if you look at, is a series of ups and downs. It's a series of success and failures. The graph never goes up. Nature also teaches us. There are 12 hours we get some bright sunlight, then 12 hours we have got pitch dark night also. So the nature also teaches us, if there is some good news, there are bad news. There are successes, there are failures, there are problems, there are challenges, there are issues. Lot of things are there. I'm sure everybody of us at some point or the other in our life, we have gone to visit some of the patients who have been in the recovery phase in the hospitals, except these COVID times. I sincerely wish and pray that nobody of us has to get into a hospital, into an ICU, but at times we have been going to help our friends, family, relatives, colleagues, assisting them, giving them moral support. And if you have walked into an ICU sometime or the other, so long as in that ECG machine, the ups and downs, the spikes up and down are going on, there is always a ray of hope. But the moment that line goes flat, the doctors, the treating specialists also put their head down and say, we are sorry, we couldn't do anything to save this gentleman or lady. We are extremely sorry. So long as there are ups and downs in our life, it's really a good sign for us. At least we are very much there in the game. So it's our ability to bounce back after we fall down largely determines our success in life. Now, if we talk in terms of degrees of success, you might have seen that there are people who are exceptionally successful people. There are people who are reasonably successful people. There are people who are averagely successful in their life. And there are people who are utter failures in their life despite wanting to excel and succeed. There are people who are known across the globe. If we talk in terms of our own country, our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, sir. If we talk in terms of entertainment industry, even at the age of 78, the person who is so very busy and creating waves in entertainment industry is none other than Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. When it comes to sporting arena, even today, though he has moved out of his game and he has retired from the game, the first name that comes onto our tips is Sachin Tendulkar. If it comes to industry, we have got Mr. Ratan Tata, Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, lots and lots of names which are known across the globe. There are people who are reasonably successful also. They have got their presence at the national level, they have got their presence registered at the international level. There are people who are doing reasonably well, there are people who are doing averagely well in their state or even at the national level. And there are people who have miserably failed in their life, who have confronted utter failures in their life despite wanting to excel and succeed. So what's the differentiator? Why is it that these people are exceptionally successful? Are they any different from us? They are also same human beings like you and me. Need not necessarily be they are very highly qualified. They were not filthy rich people who made them such great successful people. People they talk, they're very lucky people. Okay, fair enough. I can't deny that fact, but I'm sure that luck It does contribute, but I'm sure it may not be contributing 100%. So one thing was common in these people, they were able to dream big in their life in the early years of their life. When I was working with Reliance as head of training in Reliance, we were sharing story of Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. And we used to tell that when he was a small boy, he was working in some Gulf country with some petrol pump as a fuel boy there. He used to see the fleet of vehicles coming in there. And from there, he dreamt of this, that he would also have an organization wherein they would have their own fuel pumps and the vehicles would be poured in to get fueled in. So these kinds of dreams, we can have an example of our ex-president, which is very commonly known and is famous for, known as Missile Man, none other than Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab. So dream is something which we see during the night and forget in the morning. Is that a dream? Or the dream which one sees with his eyes wide open, consciously, purposefully, and that dream which does not let them sleep is the real dream. These people, they had dreamed with their eyes wide open. They were extremely conscious of what they are dreaming of. They had a very clearly defined purpose in front of them. And then they were toiling in, day out, 24 hours a day when their fellow colleagues were deep asleep, they were slogging and sweating. So this is what them reach out to the global level, become exceptionally successful. So if we can also dream of something and put it on a piece of paper wherein it would take a shape of a goal, a written goal, which we can see every day, morning, evening. If I get some opportunities, I'll talk to you in a little more detail. But since I have got time slot of 1 hour, I respect that. And that is how I am driving it with the main points to be brought into your notice. Now, I would share something very interesting with you all. You might have come across, I have also come across, and everybody might have come across these three different personas. The first persona of us as an individual is what you think you are. You may be having some own thought process about you as to this is what is me. What others think you are, the others' perception about you would be different than your own perception about yourself. But the most important one is not the first one, what you think you are, not the second one, what others think you are, but the third one, what you really are. That makes all the difference. We should be going deep down within ourselves to know as to who am I. Because what you think you are is largely defined by the societal influences. Because when I was growing up, my parents, my brothers, my sisters, my uncle, my aunts were having some opinion of me, and they were talking about their opinions in front of me. So subconsciously, I started believing that, and I started accepting that this is what is me. People, they have different perception based on their own experiences, though they have got a different thought process. But if you are able to really go deep down into yourself and try to understand, try to explore as to what you really are, you will be surprised with the kind of potential that you possess, but that you need to meet yourself in absolute isolation, talking to yourself, listening to yourself, understanding your own self. And it takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to really explore what we really are. When it comes to personality, I'm not going to talk about what the definition is. You all know, because you're all grown up individuals. You are smart, young, dynamic people. So what I'm going to talk here to you is personality. I'm going to talk to you in two dimensions. One is the personal and the professional, because maybe another 6 months, 1 year down the line, you would all be passing out from the colleges. So I thought this would be the right time for us to really look into the professional dimensions as to what the corporates are expecting us to be as a person and personality. Because believe me, my dear friends, it's not the person who grows tall, it's the personality which grows taller than the person himself or herself. There got some limitations in terms of our physical growth, We can reach to a particular height by a particular age. We can get a particular weight by a particular age, maybe some variation, 5, 10, 20 kgs here and there. Our complexions, all these kinds of stuff, which I'll be going to in the subsequent slides. But personality is something which keeps on growing. So let us look at the personal and the professional dimensions. They have got two different dimensions every personality has. One is external, one is internal. External is something which is visible to us from our naked eyes. Internal is something which is not visible to us. It can only be experienced, it can only be felt. Now, if I try and understand from you all people as to which aspect of personality predominantly determines our success in our life. Is it external or is it internal? A combination of both. I am sure since we have got a limited time, I am looking at the watch also. I have got close around 25 minutes time, so we would not be having too much of a time to interact, frankly speaking. But yes, success is largely determined by the combination of external as well as internal. We can call external as quantitative, which is static in nature, and internal as qualitative, which is dynamic in nature. Static is something which is not subject to change too much, but dynamic is something which is subject to change. Let us look at in its details. External aspects of an individual personality are typically determined by the height, weight, features, and complexion. These are more or less static in nature. When an individual attains the age of puberty and adolescence, say by 2022, then he has majorly attained his physical dimensions of his personality, his height, his weight, his features, his complexions. They are not subject to change, cannot be changed that easily. But if we look at the internal dimension of an individual personality, which constitute our thought process, our thinking, our belief systems, our attitude, our confidence, our willpower, our self-esteem, our commitment, our dedication, devotion, determination, the list goes on and on and on. So as compared to the external aspects, the quantitative aspects, when we talk of internal aspect, the dynamic aspects, I'm sure you would agree with the fact that we can change our thinking, we can change our thought process. It is under our control. We can change our attitude. It is not something which is very fixed, though it is not very easy to change people's attitude, because at the corporate level, I get a lot of programs about behavioral modification of people. This typically falls under behavioral modification because I have done my master's in psychotherapy and counseling. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, so I have probably gone into little more details as to how the attitude of people can be changed. But there we need to really dig deep down into people's personality and try to address all those areas which ultimately are responsible for an individual's attitude formation. Confidence is something which is extremely important for us. It's very easy to say that yes, you're a little underconfident and try to improve upon your confidence. The question becomes how. I know I need to improve upon my confidence. I very firmly believe and try and share with people and friends that, my dear friends and colleagues, an inch of confidence can take you miles and miles ahead of others. It's the confidence that matters most. I can share n number of examples, but considering the time frame, I would not be able to get into all those finer details, but yes, we will be talking about it in little more detail. There are a couple of slides wherein I will be dealing with. Self-esteem is something which is extremely important. Self-esteem, if I talk to you and give you a little understanding about self-esteem, is defined by an individual's self-concept and an individual's self-image. Self-concept and self-image put together define your self-esteem. And experience in that sense, I have been going to cities, metro cities, smaller places. Whenever I come across people coming from little I won't call it as rural areas, but semi-urban areas or some such areas. I have come across people, they have got little low self-esteem because quite obviously they feel that they didn't get the kind of environment which they were expecting to get because the facilities were not there. The kind of education which they thought they could get in some urban city or a better city, which probably was not available during those days to them. So they at times have a different kind of a concept about themselves, but that can be changed. So these are the ones, the beauty of these internal aspects, qualitative aspects, we have got absolute control on this. Let us look at the next slide. As I was just talking to you, what is it that is in our control when it comes to personality? We have got absolute control on our thought process. We have got absolute control on our belief systems. We have got absolute control on our attitude. We have got absolute control on our confidence. I have got absolute control on my self-esteem, my self-concept, my self-image. I have got total control on my commitment level, dedication, determination, decision making, all those kinds of things which constitute my personality. There are factors which can influence my personality, and there are areas which have no control and no influence on my personality. Moving to the principle which is extremely important principle when it comes to personality is our attitude, our knowledge, our habit, and our skills. These are the key core components of an individual's personality. I have been training a lot of employees when it comes to corporates. I have been doing a lot of induction program. I have been doing a lot of orientation program. I have been doing a lot of individual excellence program. I have been doing executive and management development programs. When I interact with HRs, because we are also trying and helping educational institutes, that I feel is my responsibility also. Training students at the institute level and getting them ready as per corporate expectations. So whenever I go and talk to HRs and discuss with them as to what is one key core criteria that you would expect your employees to be very good on with. Knowledge, yes, is important for them. The set of skills, yes, very much. They look at students not coming to them with a student's mindset, but prefer them coming to the corporate as professionals with professionals mindset. Habits, of course, good habit patterns. But the top of the tally, they tell us that we want people with the right mindset, with the right kind of attitude, the willingness to learn. I don't mind picking up a student who is maybe 60%, 70% on his academic credentials, but if he or she has got that willingness to learn, willingness to adapt, willingness to change as per our corporate ethics, principles and policies, I think I would go for that student. They are little reluctant. They try and put such people on hold who are high on attitude. So only getting good marks in the exams, passing out with maybe 90-95%, having the right kind of an attitude will always help you stand out differently when it comes to the screening from the HRs. So attitude is extremely important. Believe me, my dear friends, our success in our life largely depends on the kind of attitude we have. Knowledge, yes, is endless process. We must keep on acquiring knowledge. Today's world is information world. There has been an explosion of information. What not is available to you on net, but time is limited for you to use that. You should very judiciously, you should very preciously think about what kind of knowledge you need to acquire, which will help you excel and succeed, develop the right kind of habits and skill set. Yes, I will be talking to you in subsequent slides. When it comes to thoughts, I'm sure you would agree to this fact that everything happens twice in our lifetime. When we think about it, even today, if I'm talking to you, today's webinar was scheduled with the kind consent of Dr. Jain sir. But first that thought came into our mind that can we plan a webinar, and that thought has really translated into taking place of this webinar today. So thought will always precede our actions. Thought comes first, then comes the action. Average number of thought, it is estimated that an average human being comes across 60,000 to 65,000 thoughts per day. It is up to us to put those filters, because the tendency is that we tend to become more negative, we tend to think more negative, because wherever we are going, meeting, talking, listening to people, watching television news channels, reading newspapers, everybody is talking about negatives. So many cases being reported, so many deaths being reported, but there were good number of people recovering on an everyday basis also. But since we have been exposed to such kind of an environment right from a very early age of life, I had read somewhere in a book, we are a positive force in a negative world around us. So we have to be very, very careful and cautious while picking and choosing thoughts, and we have to ensure that I will only entertain positive, self-promoting thoughts. I will not be entertaining self-limiting thoughts. I will be entertaining only positive thoughts which release positive energy in my mind and body, and I will refrain from entertaining any negative thought that puts me down, that pulls me down. Because thoughts have three-dimensional effects on us. Thoughts, we don't care too much about the importance of thoughts, the importance of thinking, but thoughts, they have got three-dimensional impact, my dear friends. If I talk of something, first we get the image component of that thought. The moment we utter that thought in terms of words, the first are the word components. Word components, when we say something, we immediately get an image on the mental screen of our mind, and with that mental image, we get some emotions attached to it. If I give you an example, if I talk of, there is one thought in my mind, and I'm going to share that thought in terms of words, expressing that thought in words, marriage. So the moment I have uttered the word marriage, what has come on your mental screens? The moment you have heard this word marriage, the scenes of marriage, people coming together, joy, happiness, pleasure, dancing, songs, lot of fun, all these activities being seen on mental screens, and the emotions, happiness, joy, pleasure. So every thought that we entertain affects us in three dimensions, whether we are aware of it or we are unaware of it. So thoughts are extremely important, because it is said that thought become things. So we have to be very, very careful and cautious about our own thought process, which is in absolute control of me. Maybe till this point of time, this moment, I was more of a negative thought oriented person, but I am going to put up a stop here, and I'm going to be positive from this very moment onwards. If we decide to do something, nobody can stop us from doing that. But if we decide not to do anything, nobody can make us do that. So entire choice is ours. We can control our life by controlling our thoughts, as I just then shared with you all. Attitude, yes, it has got an iceberg kind of a effect. We get to see only the tip of the iceberg, but the major part of the iceberg is not seen. Something which is known to people is only knowledge and skills, what they are able to see. But the unknown thing is much, much more bigger in size, which is not known to people. So it's typically can be related to an iceberg. A very little of it is seen. So smart interviewers will try to ask you different kinds of questions. That's what we try and get students prepared on, because it's really very, very difficult for an interviewer to gauge an individual's attitude, to understand, to really get the glimpse of his or her attitude during the course of 5, 7, 10 minutes. There are different set of questions, which of course we also have, which tries to give us an insight, a little feel about an individual's attitude. Attitude, we all know, is the way we look at the things. That's our mental eye. It's all about having the right kind of an attitude. If you try and see how does it get shaped, as I said, it starts right from the very beginning of our childhood. It's not something which is shaped up in a very short span of time. It takes a lot of time, because I will try and share with you sometime or the other that how our attitude gets shaped and what can be done to improve upon our attitudes. With due respect to all your attitude, I'm sure you all have a positive kind of an attitude. You have got positive mindsets. The kind of choices we make in our life, yes, it does define our attitude. So people, those who are interested in trying to understand your attitude, they will try and test you on your choices, what you like, what you dislike, what are your hobbies, what are your interests, what are your strengths. They will try and put you through a lot of these kinds of questions, which will be giving them an overview of your personality. We can choose our attitude also. Attitude also drives our response, whether we fight out the situations or we adopt a flight response. We are running away from those situations. So COVID era has been a challenging era, and we have been very firm and very determined that we will fight it out. Though there were a lot of restrictions, government was trying its level best, even trying today, and they have been able to contain the COVID second wave to a great extent. People have cooperated. They have understood the importance of all those, protocols which were laid down, maintaining social distances. We have, quarantined ourselves in the four walls of our houses, our flats. We have not gone out. We have, stopped all the activities. Your businesses have been shut down. People have closed down their shops just to ensure that if we leave, then everything will fall in place. So we have fought out the situation. We just did not run away from that situation. This speaks about the right kind of attitude we as countrymen have. Let's salute all our countrymen because of this positive attitude. Let us look at the professional dimension of our personality. The quantitative aspects are the knowledge. Basically, essentially, yes, you're all students right now. It is extremely important for you as students to acquire as much knowledge as you can of your domain, because it will give you a lot of confidence when you go and get into the industry. Industry understanding is something which is extremely important. What the healthcare industry is doing, what is in store for the healthcare industry in times to come, maybe 5 years down the line or maybe 7 years down the line, where you are trying and shaping up your career in the healthcare industry. Market awareness. People, they never thought of that masks would be the best sellers. Sanitizers would be leading the market during COVID times. Companies were not even aware of what kind of medications would be required. So the companies who were a little proactive in this sense, who could sense with the onset of COVID that what is it that can make a difference, companies started manufacturing those kinds of stuff, started flooding the market with those products, and they could get away with the market share. I know a company wherein one of my close friends is working as group vice president. They have got favipiravir. The moment it was given approval for COVID patients, they immediately procured the raw material. They were already in discussions with the manufacturers, the raw material producers. They procured favipiravir, get their plants ready, started manufacturing favipiravir with all the 3 batches fully loaded with only favipiravir. They flooded the market before any competitors could get into the market. And within 6 months period, when the COVID was at its peak during last year, they could walk away with 100 crores in their pocket just within 6 months with Favipiravir, one single product. This is what market-aware market intelligence can do for you. Digital literacy, yes, is extremely important because today's times, as I very rightly stated in the beginning, are digital. Of course, situations will come back to normal. People will start going back to offices. We, as students and professors and lecturers, would start coming back to colleges and institutions. But yes, digital would have its own presence, own importance, and over the period of time, at the global level, people are going to go digital. So it is important for us to have digital literacy. I'm sure you as young generation people are smart enough when it comes to using digital platforms. But we as senior people who never ever had these opportunities of going digital, but even at this age, I'm 58 right now, I'm learning a lot of digital platform, how I can use digital platform to connect with people, not only in Mumbai city, across my country, and even abroad wherever I have been going, because there were restrictions, there are restrictions, there are going to be restrictions for international travel in another 6 months or so. So we cannot hold on for 6 months and wait for situations to come back to normal. But till then, we have already started conducting these programs for our people who are in US and Canada and Dubai and London and Singapore, cities like this. The qualitative aspects which corporates definitely are looking forward to you. As future leaders, whenever I interact with those HR leaders, they keep telling me that Deepak, if you can help us get professionals with professionals mindset, we will be welcoming those people. But please, please don't give us students with students mindset. The only difference is, as students, you would be wondering what this difference is all about. I'm talking about students mindset. Yes, as students, we are on receiving end. I'm sitting here and delivering a webinar. You are all listening to me, probably making notes, understanding what is being talked about, and trying to probably start working on it, help you improve in times to come. So we as students are more or less on the receiving end, but when we go to the corporate, we are not on the receiving end, but we are more on the deliverable end. Here we are paying fees to the colleges. Here we are probably paying quarterly, 6 monthly annual fees to the colleges, to the institutions, whatever it may be. At the corporate, you are being paid by the corporates. So here you are paying to the institution, there you are being paid. So you become an employee wherein you are accountable for deliverables. So when it comes to accountability, there are a lot of skills, but the essential set of skills which we need to work on is communication. To me, my dear friends, as you might have heard during the introduction, I have been with All India Radio as an announcer, as a compeer. I have had the privilege of anchoring, stage shows, musical concerts of great musical masters which are known, including Mangeshkars. You name any top musical legend of India, and I have had the privilege of sharing the stage with those people. And when it comes to people like Mangeshkars or Pandit Bhim Singh Joshi or Pandit Jasraj or some such great musical masters, the audience size is